energy, what policies would you support to expand solar and wind energy in Kansas? How should Kansas balance renewable energy development with rural and environmental concerns? And should communities have greater local input on energy siting decisions?
I would immediately axe whatever solar or wind programs we have if that was within my power. I don't believe that's going to be the case. If you look into solar and wind, I think it's providing 3% of Kansas's energy, whereas one nuclear reactor is providing almost 20% of it. So the return on investment with solar and wind is just not up to scratch. I think we should do research into it at the federal level and continue our work there, because I believe it is good to look into renewable energy, but it is not feasible right now. We've had 100 years to perfect coal power plants and natural gas.
They all have their problems, right? Because with the solar, you have the batteries and what we have to do to people in another country to even get that material, and so that alone makes me feel like it's not the answer if it requires. So the only reason it's affordable is because we're exploiting an entire race of people across the world, right? And so, I mean, that sucks. I think on a small scale, like in my camper, things like that, or maybe individual homes. And then the wind problem that I found that somebody actually brought up, because I don't know these things, is that there's not enough oversight going into the companies that are putting them up, so they're not being properly maintained, or they're just being left once they're decommissioned. And I guess they're fiberglass, and little bits of fiberglass are going down everywhere. So I was like, is that true? And I looked it up, and I was like, oh my gosh. And so that would make sense to me that a lot of those wind farms are owned by Canada or other countries, and so we don't really have the power to make them do the right thing. And then we're also the ones that are owned by American companies, holding them accountable and making sure they're doing their maintenance. If they do all that, then if they add in if they were properly maintaining them and properly caring for them when they take them down, the expense of them would then make wind energy not, like how much would it cost to properly do them? Like, is it only making money because they're skimping on maintenance? And then there's these big things. And then why are there so many that are, but it's the landowners decide to let Canadians come in and put things there. I honestly don't think we should allow other countries to own land in our country. Like most of downtown San Francisco is owned by Taiwanese people that have come together and bought properties for Airbnbs. I used to do the books for one of them, and so they tried to do it out there, but they just got an American surrogate that does the business here under their name. But it's really the money of the investors over there. So I just think that's very dangerous. Why would you let a whole another group of people in another country own a whole part of the downtown?
Yeah, no, that's insane.
That's insane. If you're going to live here and be a citizen and stuff, but you're going to stay over there and then own our land and take our wind power,
Well, with the wind power, I've talked to people who own land that have put windmills on them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's great. We just get money for this small segment of land." But then you talk to anyone else around, they're like, "No, why would they never?" It's never because they support wind energy. It's because they get the money for it, which is completely fine. It's you can make money. It's America, but.
The question the lady asked is who's going to pay to clean up my field because my neighbor chose to get a wind thing and then the company didn't properly maintain it.
Question too, yeah.
It's blowing everywhere. I'm breathing it in. My grandchildren are having asthma attacks. I'm going to have to move if they don't take down this wind turbine. And I'm like, this is a real problem.
How long will they take to decompose? And they're going to be around forever. These massive structures.
Yeah, I've never. Yeah, and the nuclear plant thing is where are we going to put it? They were talking about putting one in DeSoto, but they already have the battery plant. I think a small AI data center is going in there, and then a nuclear plant is just going to be
The limiting factor is water. You have to put them, I think, along either the Arkansas River or the Missouri River, but it's limited options that we have.
They would be over by Wichita because Wichita likes to tout about. They talk about how big their infrastructure is they have to care for. They have the biggest infrastructure of water to care for that goes way out of Wichita into Sedgwick County. And I'm actually going next week, or the first week of March, to a meeting in Colwich about trying to stop an AI data center being built out there. And so I think that's really what people want, is they just don't want a nuclear power plant built next to their house without them having a choice. You know,
I can
they
see
don't want a big AI, any big building
Right.
or, you know, I think that's the problem a lot of people have with the stadium. Isn't necessarily that they're against the stadium or the plan, it's that they never asked if they want a stadium in their backyard. And that's that's a big decision that should have been up to voters in the area, at least, or the whole state maybe, but definitely that area should have got, wherever they wanted to put it, should have gotten a vote on whether they wanted it in their neighborhood or not.
This was for an AI data center,
Or that was for the Chiefs thing. I'm just
Oh.
saying, like, they're just not, they're doing it without getting input of the people around that have to look at it and hear it and deal with the pollutants of it, because of its water needs, it has to be very close to a population where the water is. And so I think we're gonna need to, if we became less car dependent and, you know, got better public transit or high-speed rail or something, that would reduce our energy costs, because even electric vehicles, you got to plug them in
they just
and get
run
that
on
power
coal.
from somewhere, right? And because it's going to go away. I mean, that's just a fact. You're talking about long-term plans. It's like eventually our renewable energies are going to be gone, and we need to make sure that we're thinking about that now, so that we're not scrambling to build infrastructure when we can't use cars anymore.
And that's why I think nuclear it's a good slow but long-term investment. You can't just go around and make all of the energy in Kansas nuclear, but you can definitely work towards it over the next couple decades.
Can we just put it out west in the middle of nowhere?
Not
They
enough
don't
water.
have water out there. Ugh. There's no one living out there if something went bad. It's just a field.
That won't happen. The Simpsons, I think, did too much to make it seem like there's theories out there. That was a whole propaganda thing, but nuclear power plants are actually incredibly safe and incredibly environmentally friendly and efficient.
You hear about that one bad apple spreading radiation everywhere, and they make a movie with people screaming and sweating and.
Nuclear reactors are just a new way to boil water. That's most of what they are, essentially, to create steam to turn turbines. So they're very, very safe, very good for the environment.